We do have to get into this, and Sam Flannel and I got in a discussion before the show about it, and it got heated, and I was surprised. I was surprised he had that much passion about it, but his subject matter didn't surprise me. And the Pistons lost yesterday to the Trailblazers, and that's not the news. The Pistons now have the worst record in the NBA. I think they have locked up that bottom 3 spot because Charlotte went on. Charlotte, for some reason, decided to go win 5 games in a row. But cool. I'm glad they did. And as you guys know, if you're in the bottom 3, your odds are equal. Your draft lottery odds are, was it 14 and some change, almost 15% chance of winning the first pick. And I see the discussion about the Pistons, and I think people are forgetting part of it here. And Brandon Katz says Detroit's doing the smart thing, tanking works. And that runs congruent to the discussion subject that Sam Flannel and I had. And Sam, let's hash it out, man. Let's have the discussion right now. And I want to get Spenmo's take on it as well. And I'll just go off the preface of when you lose the number 1 overall draft pick for essentially the entire season, what did you think was going to happen?
No, that's this season. I think that there is a little bit of, I wouldn't say an excuse, but a reason why they didn't win as many games as they should have this year, because losing Cade Cunningham is obviously huge. I predicted that he would be an all-star this year. That obviously didn't happen. My thing is that for the first three seasons, last 3 seasons, not this one, they won 63 total games in 3 years. And this season, it seems likely that they might win 18 or less, which, if that happens, the Pistons would have won 81 games in 4 years. A couple of seasons were cut short, I understand that. But that's important because there are 82 games in an NBA season. That means that it's likely that in 4 seasons, the Detroit Pistons win less games in 4 seasons than there are games in an NBA season. And I think that prolonged losing, there has to be more of a pound of flesh. I think someone like Dwayne Casey, he has to go just for that level of terribleness for 4 years in a row. I understand they were in cap hell. They had to get out of it. I understand that this season Cade Cunningham missed essentially the whole year. But that's just prolonged awfulness, and I can't excuse it. Their season high for wins in the past 4 is going to be 23. That's atrocious. And I think we're just giving that way too much of a pass.
Because the state of the game has changed, Sam Flannel, where with the NBA, and look, no one will ever talk about it publicly, are you rewarded or are you penalized for winning games? Which is it?
When you can't make the playoffs,
When you can't make the playoffs.
Penalized.
You're penalized for winning. So, ... That goes into it, Sam. Like, for people that attach themselves to like a linear number of wins, that doesn't apply. When you're an NBA franchise that's trying to rebuild, total numbers of wins do not apply, Sam Flannel, because the stakes are different. You're playing a different game than everybody else is playing.
And that's understandable. And if we want to take the wins in the past 4 years out of it, which I don't think we should, but let's go to that 2020 draft class, which was supposed to be a good draft, so to speak. Killian Hayes this year has proven once again that he is possibly the worst offensive guard to ever pick up a basketball. 37% from the field and under 30% from 3. His field goal percentage is actually worse than last season's. Isaiah Stewart has proven that he is not a real NBA player on a real contending team, and his 3-point shooting has actually gotten worse. That was what he was supposed to maybe get better at, that, be a stretch 4. That hasn't happened. And Sadiq Bey got traded. So I don't know if that's on Troy Weaver or Dwayne Casey or the coaching staff, but that also has happened. The 2020 draft, at least the first round picks, has turned into a disaster, an absolute disaster, and nobody wants to talk about it. There's no excuse to be this bad for 4 years.
And I would contend that in the NBA, it's different. And look, you're not wrong, right? The numbers are the numbers. I can't argue the numbers of the guys that were picked. Is Killian like what they envisioned it to be? No, I would say that he provides elements, but here's the problem, right? Like, defensively, he provides an element, right? But that ain't the way this league works, man. It's not. Like, it's nice. It's nice to talk about and everything like that. But it's not the way the league works. No. And again, I'll go back to it. So you say that, and that is true. And then I'll also bring up the fact that you paid Blake Griffin $30 million to not play. You know what I'm saying? You had to take on all these contracts to get draft capital so you could be active in the draft. Created the Jalen Duren thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not apples to apples.
Sure.
When you talk about the NBA.
No,
it's just not.
I mean, those were some bad circumstances, and obviously being so bad helped them get the number 1 pick and helped them land Cade Cunningham. And I don't even really begrudge them for tanking. This idea that they're supposed to be this bad for 4 consecutive years, despite all the circumstances, I think that's a little bit... I think they need to be held to a little bit higher of a standard than maybe winning less games in a 4-year stretch than there are games in an NBA season. That sounds like it's made up. It's not made up.
Zach Spring has a question for you in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. I wonder who's responsible for player development with the Pistons.
I mean, there's the coaching staff, Dwayne Casey. There's a lot of different answers. But
John Beeline is his answer.
Okay, John, fine. But, okay, and here we go again. We're just absolving Dwayne Casey of everything because you're a Dwayne Casey slappy. I understand he was good in Toronto, but he also got fired in Toronto because...
Who's winning with this? Who's winning over that course with paying Blake Griffin $30 million? What coach is coming in here and winning? You could put Chuck Daly in there. You could put Phil Jackson in there. Who's winning in that scenario, in that situation, Sam Flannel? Give me the name.
The money and the injuries. And the injuries and not having that, you don't even have a team. You're just throwing guys out there. But the response, we don't know. To my point, Sam, is it's indefinite. Like it's what do they call it? Not inconclusive, right? Is it truly inconclusive whether he can or he can't?
He's an NBA Coach of the Year.
It would seem like because of what we watched, how teams score on us and our defensive incapability. The fact that I see, like, my question to you guys would be, well, how's the Wiseman trade working out? What's with this guy? You know, the development doesn't seem to be there. So it's a group thing, but to your point, Neil, has Dwayne Casey, he's been fighting he's fighting for water, or he's fighting for air from underneath the water the whole time he's been here.
And that is fair. And look, I know that when you talk about there has to be pounds of flesh, I'm sure there will be to some degree. Spenmo, you're an NBA guy. What's your 30,000 foot right now as far as the Pistons are concerned?
I mean, yeah, I think there is going to be a new head coach next season. It's, like you said, there's not much Dwayne Casey could have done with the roster he was given, but you got to do something. And seeing the regression of players is a big telltale sign that it's probably you're moving on from him. And it is what it is. It's not working what it is now, so you got to shake it up. I don't know who they're going to bring in to replace it. I'm still in the Ime Udoka camp. I think he is the obvious choice. Just make sure your girlfriend's not too close to him. But for me, that's the road you got to take.